At Ritual, we know what goes into a magical holiday season. The potluck planning, the gift giving, the spreadsheets. This new year, take a moment for yourself with simple, daily rituals that help you put your foundational health at the top of your to-do list. Ritual's Essential for Women 18 Plus multivitamin is a clinically backed multivitamin featuring 9 high-quality key essential ingredients to help you fill key nutrient gaps in your diet. Or maybe you're stressing your daily protein intake, or you want to double down on support for your gut microbiome. From plant-based essential protein to 3-in-1 pre, pro, and postbiotic strains with Symbiotic Plus, Ritual helps you focus on supporting your body after a long season of juggling everybody else. And for a limited time, do it with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Hey there, Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
From GPS telling us where to turn to those, sometimes a little too cheery customer service voices. AI voices are everywhere these days.
It really is amazing how we're interacting with synthetic speech more and more all the time.
Right. It's like we're surrounded. And that's actually exactly why we're doing this deep dive today into text-to-speech, or TTS,
Yeah.
using this free online tool called TTS Maker.
I think it's really interesting to see how much this technology has changed. I mean, not that long ago, you would have needed really expensive software and a lot of technical know-how to make a synthetic voice.
Right.
But now anybody can do it.
Yeah.
With tools like TTS Maker, it really makes you wonder what this is going to mean for content creators going forward.
Well, with TTS Maker, it's pretty easy to just dive right in.
Yeah.
You just type in your text, pick your language and a voice style, you hit convert, and boom, you've got an audio file. It's almost like magic.
It is pretty amazing.
I thought it was really cool that they even have these O-voice options that don't count towards your weekly character limit.
Oh, yeah. That is a nice touch.
Yeah.
And that character limit's kind of a smart move on their part.
Oh, how so?
Well, TTS Maker gives you 20,000 characters every week for free.
Okay.
Which is actually pretty generous.
Yeah.
But it's also strategic because it lets people try out the technology and see how powerful it is.
Uh-huh.
And then if you need more, they nudge you towards their pro version. It's
Right.
the classic, freemium model.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't really expect them to just run a site like this totally free forever, right?
Exactly.
But even with that limit, you can still do a lot with it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And here's what really stood out to me. The audio files that you create. You get full copyright and commercial usage rights.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to create content.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for places like YouTube and TikTok, which TTS Maker specifically mentions.
Oh, yeah. It's smart for them to go after those platforms because YouTube and TikTok are all about user-generated content, right?
Right.
So TTS Maker is making it easier for new creators to get started.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine you're an aspiring filmmaker or a teacher or something. You don't have to go out and buy all this expensive recording gear or hire voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
You can just experiment and make really high-quality audio right on your computer.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
It is. And they highlight 4 main ways you can use their technology.
Okay.
Video dubbing, audiobook, reading, education and training, and then marketing and advertising.
Makes sense.
I thought the audiobook one was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it really shows how much we want easy access to information and entertainment these days.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You could be listening to, the latest bestseller or catching up on industry news while you're on your commute.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to this technology.
That's true.
And they also really emphasize language learning.
Oh, yeah.
So TTS Maker could be a really valuable tool if you're trying to learn a new language.
Definitely. It lets you hear words and phrases pronounced correctly, which is, super important for developing good pronunciation and fluency.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into some of the more interesting details that I found.
Okay.
TTS Maker's description actually includes this quote from a user named Frank.
Okay.
And he says that he loves the creative freedom that TTS Maker gives him.
Interesting.
It's like a small detail, but I think it says a lot about how AI can help people express themselves in new and exciting ways.
That's a really powerful point.
Yeah.
Frank's quote really shows that AI isn't just about replacing human creativity, it's about adding to it.
Right.
TTS Maker is like a tool that unlocks new possibilities
Yeah.
and lets people explore their creativity in ways they maybe couldn't before.
And all this creative freedom brings up some interesting questions about, like, who owns and controls digital content,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
especially when you think about how temporary data can be.
Right.
TTS Maker mentions that audio files are automatically deleted after just 30 minutes, but you can share them online for 30 days using a short link.
It's interesting, right? Because it raises questions about the balance between convenience and control in our digital world. Like, we want things to be easy to use and easy to get to.
Yeah.
But we also want to know that our data is being handled responsibly.
And they address that
Okay.
by emphasizing that they only keep your conversion history for 30 minutes for privacy reasons.
So it's like they're trying to find a middle ground
Right.
between giving people what they want and also respecting your privacy.
Yeah,
It's a tough balance to strike.
it is.
On the one hand, having temporary files can make you feel more secure knowing that your data isn't being stored forever.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder about how long content will be around and how easy it will be to get to it in the future.
Right.
What happens after those 30 days?
Exactly.
It makes you think about how temporary everything is online and how hard it is to keep digital content safe over the long haul.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the FAQs section, which I always think is really helpful to understand how a company thinks.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that jumped out at me was their promise to always have a free version, which is awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But they also say that they might change their policies in the future.
Right. Well, it makes sense from a business perspective. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of money and effort to develop and maintain AI technology. So they need to be able to adapt as things change.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder how long they can keep offering this kind of powerful tool for free.
Right.
Will people have to pay for premium features eventually?
Right.
Only time will tell, I guess.
Now, here's something that might surprise some people.
Okay.
TTS Maker says that you can use their audio on platforms like YouTube and TikTok
Mm-hmm.
without having to give them credit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they say attribution is appreciated but not required.
That's fascinating.
Right.
It really shows how the rules of content creation are changing in the age of AI. I mean, traditionally, you always had to give credit where credit was due. Right.
But now that AI tools are becoming so common, it's getting harder to know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what it means to be a creator these days
Mm-hmm.
and how we value originality in a world where AI can just generate content so easily.
It really makes you think about the future of content creation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a whole new world out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a whole new world. It's interesting, though, right? This whole conversation about AI and content creation.
Yeah.
People often worry that AI is going to, like, take over and humans won't be creative anymore.
Right.
But I don't think it's that simple.
I agree. I mean, think about Frank and how excited he was about having creative freedom.
Exactly.
It seems like TTS Maker is more about helping people be creative, not replacing them.
I think that's a good way to put it. It's more about collaboration.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
humans have ideas and emotions and unique perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
and AI can help bring those ideas to life in ways that maybe weren't possible before.
And speaking of making things possible, TTS Maker is so easy to use.
And it's free.
Mm-hmm.
So that opens up a lot of opportunities for people to create content.
It does. But is there a downside to that?
What do you mean?
Well, it's great that more people can create and share their ideas.
Right.
But what if it leads to a bunch of low-quality content?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, will the internet just get flooded with AI-generated stuff that's not original or interesting?
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But I also think it's important to remember that every new technology comes with its own set of challenges and opportunities.
That's true.
Like, think about the printing press, the radio, the internet.
Mm-hmm.
They all shook things up. when they came along.
Yeah.
And they all had both good and bad consequences.
Right.
Ultimately, it's up to us as a society to decide how we use these tools
Yeah.
and to figure out how to handle the ethical and societal implications.
That's a really good point.
All right.
And it brings up another interesting aspect of this whole conversation.
What's that?
AI's ability to create human voices that sound more and more realistic.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Like, as AI voice technology gets better, how will we be able to tell the difference between a real voice and a synthetic one?
Right. It's
Fine.
kind of freaky to think about.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where you can't tell if you're talking to a real person on the phone
Right.
or if the voiceover in a video is actually AI.
It's not just phone calls and videos either.
Oh, yeah.
Think about audiobooks, podcasts, even music.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like, will AI be able to perfectly copy the voices of our favorite singers and actors?
That's mind-blowing. It brings up all sorts of ethical questions about authenticity and the potential for misuse.
Definitely.
Like, could people use AI-generated voices to spread fake news
yeah.
or to impersonate someone for malicious reasons?
Oh, absolutely. The potential for misinformation and manipulation is a serious concern.
Yeah.
As AI voices become more sophisticated, it's going to be more and more important for us to develop critical thinking skills and to be able to tell what's real and what's fake.
It seems like TTS Maker and tools like it are really making us think about some big questions.
Yeah.
About technology, truth, even the nature of reality.
I couldn't agree more. We're entering uncharted territory here, and it's really important for us to have open and honest conversations about how AI is impacting our lives and society as a whole.
Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
The fact that TTS Maker deletes audio files after 30 minutes
Right.
and shared files are gone after 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Like, what are the implications of having data that's so temporary?
It's a really interesting question. On the one hand, it's good for data privacy and security. People are more and more concerned about those things these days.
Yeah.
But it also creates challenges for preserving content and making sure people can access it in the future.
Right.
If everything is temporary, how do we make sure that important information and creative works are saved and available for future generations?
It's a tough question. It highlights that tension between convenience and control in our digital lives. We want things to be easy to use and always available. But we also have to think about the consequences of our actions.
Exactly. And as we create and consume more and more digital content, we have to think about the environmental impact too.
Oh, that's a good point.
Even temporary files take up storage space and energy.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that what we do online has real-world effects,
Right.
and that we need to be mindful of our digital footprint.
This deep dive has really given us a lot to think about.
It has. It's amazing how a tool like TTS Maker can open up so many possibilities and challenges.
I totally agree. TTS Maker is just one example of how AI is changing the world.
Yeah.
And as AI keeps evolving, it's important for us to stay informed, have these discussions, and think about the ethical implications of this powerful technology.
It's a really exciting and fast-changing field,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI in a way that benefits humanity.
So as we come to the end of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Good.
As AI voices get better and better and start to sound just like human voices, how will that change our relationship with technology, with content creation, even with our own voices?
Wow, that's a powerful question.
Right.
It really deserves some serious thought. Our voices are so much more than just sounds.
Yeah.
They're how we express our individuality, our emotions, our experiences.
Imagine a world where AI can not only copy the sound of our voices,
Right.
but also capture all the little nuances and inflections that make each of us unique.
It's both fascinating and a little bit creepy, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if we'll lose something important if we can't tell the difference between a human voice and an AI-generated one anymore.
That's a question that philosophers, artists, and technologists are going to be debating for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation that we all need to be a part of.
The future of AI isn't something that's just happening to us.
Right.
It's something that we're shaping through the choices we make and the conversations we have.
So let's approach this future with curiosity, but also with a sense of responsibility.
Let's explore what AI can do, but also be mindful of how it could affect our lives and society.
This has been a really thought-provoking deep dive into the world of text-to-speech and AI voice technology.
It really has. We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we've explored the capabilities, the implications, and the ethical considerations of this rapidly evolving field. And as we wrap up, I want to encourage our listeners to keep exploring these topics,
Yes.
to stay curious and to have thoughtful discussions about how AI is changing our world. The future of AI is in our hands,
That's right.
and it's up to all of us to make sure it's a future that benefits humanity.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
You know, it really is a fascinating and complex topic. And speaking of exploring and questioning, I'm curious about your thoughts on something we kind of skimmed over earlier.
Okay.
The more settings option in TTS Maker.
Uh-huh.
What's hiding in there that our listeners might find interesting?
The more settings, that's where things get
Yeah.
really interesting.
I mean, the basic interface is super easy to use,
Right.
but TTS Maker also has a lot of customization options if you want to really dig in.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Well, for example, you can change the speed and pitch of the voice.
Okay.
You can add pauses and emphasis.
Uh-huh.
And you can even fine-tune how certain words are pronounced.
Wow. So it's not just picking a voice and hitting convert.
Yay.
You can really shape the audio in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
I bet that level of control is a big deal for content creators.
Oh, yeah. Especially if they're looking for a very specific sound or style.
Yeah, totally. So let's say you're making an audiobook for kids.
Okay.
You might want to use a voice that's like upbeat and engaging.
Right.
And then you could use the more settings to add like playful inflections or even sound effects.
Exactly. You could really bring the story to life.
It sounds like those features could make audio content way more immersive.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost like TTS Maker is giving audio artists all the tools they need to create their own sonic masterpieces.
I like that analogy. And, you know, as AI voice technology keeps getting better, we're going to see even more advanced tools and techniques.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day we'll be able to make AI voices that can express emotions just as well as human actors. Or AI that can compose music that sounds just like it was written by a human.
It's exciting to think about, but also kind of scary.
I know, right?
But as we wrap up this deep dive, I think we need to remember that even with all these amazing advances in AI voice technology,
Yeah.
the human element is still the most important thing.
I completely agree. AI can be an incredible tool. It can help us make our voices heard, create new ways of expressing ourselves, and connect with each other in really meaningful ways.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's up to us to use these tools wisely and ethically,
Right.
and to always appreciate the power and beauty of the human voice.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Well, this deep dive into TTS Maker has been a fascinating journey. We've explored not just the technical side of this tool, but also the bigger picture of how AI voice technology is affecting our lives and society. And as always, we want to encourage our listeners to keep exploring these topics, stay curious, and have thoughtful conversations about the role of AI in shaping our future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.